Catherine is the most philosophical game of all time. And if you don't agree, then you tell me. Do you understand love? Fear of death, commitment, the relationship between morality and mortality? Do you know what it's like to dread becoming just one more member of the herd of the human race? Do you know what it's like to feel like you just don't know yourself? What it's like to not recognize yourself in the mirror? These are the mysteries of love, the joyful mysteries, the sorrowful mysteries, the transgressive mysteries, and most of all, the mystery of faith, which is trust. Can you trust yourself? Can you trust another person? Can you trust yourself not to change? Or trust yourself to change? Vincent Brooks is a man without a plan. Apropos his last name, he goes with the flow. He doesn't live. He's someone to whom life happens. He's 32 but doesn't want to grow up, or accept the fact he's already actually an adult. He hangs out with 3 friends almost every night at their local bar. 2 of said friends, Johnny and Orlando, were part of his high school friend group, and the other, Toby, is 10 years younger than him. He doesn't want to marry his girlfriend of 5 years, but he doesn't want to break up with her either. He drinks as a way of making time stop, but that only works temporarily. No matter how much you may want life to stay the same, time stops for no man. You'll probably have noticed by now that I'm showing clips from other games while discussing Catherine. Why am I doing this? Well, because like the best games, Catherine is a game about games. And no, I'm not just saying that because of the arcade game version of Catherine, titled Rapunzel, which you can play when you're in the Stray Sheep. I'm saying that because Catherine is a notably nested experience about narrative and choice. It's a game about how we gamify life, how we choose our choices. Here's what I mean by nested, by the way. Here's how nested this game is. In order to get to the true gameplay of Catherine, where you're a man essentially trying to survive a tower of Tetris where the blocks can crush you, you're watching a television anthology show, hearing an introduction from a fourth-wall-breaking host, doing menu selection as Vincent in order to drink alcohol, hear trivia about alcohol, respond to texts, walk around a bar in order to select other menus where you can talk to other regulars, watch cutscenes, and then, only once he's fallen asleep do you actually play the ostensible game of the game. And that's not to mention the fact that the levels of the game itself are punctuated by further walking around different opportunities to do menu selection, whether that's talking to the fellow sufferers in your nightmare or answering morality questions in the dream confessional. The game of this game is nested within so much other stuff that I can't help but think that's part of the point Catherine's trying to make. That all these things we don't think are part of the game are part of the game. In that spirit, and given what I'm going to argue about Catherine, I'm doing this video the way I'm doing it to show that all these things we think aren't Catherine are also actually Catherine. That nested quality is part of what I think makes Catherine the most philosophical game of all time. Obviously, it's also a game about morality and ethics. Whether Vincent is a good person or a bad person, whether he treats the people in his life fairly or unfairly. But there's something in the background that makes this especially philosophical, which is to say it's about love, and it's about wisdom, and to love wisdom is just to ask questions. Also, like the first philosopher Socrates, Vincent loves to drink. And Plato in the Symposium argues that love and lust are just portals to knowledge, really. Not so different than when James Joyce says that errors are a great man's portals to discovery. At the end of the day, Catherine isn't just about the choices Vincent makes, it's about why he makes those choices. It's about the questions and mistaken thoughts that motivate his actions. Vincent suffers from nightmares which seem to be affecting all men who cheat on the women in their lives. While he's in this dream, he sees other men who are similarly suffering and being similarly punished by these nightmare deadly Tetris towers. But these other men don't appear to him as men. They appear as sheep. Curiously, although Vincent is clearly recognizable to us, though he does sport horns in these dream stages, the other men in these dreams see him as just another sheep. It becomes clear that every dreamer believes himself to be the only man in this nightmare world. This flattening of everyone else, this seeing everyone else as a statistic or an insignificant member of a lumpy mass of blind followers, tells us a few things. It tells us that Vincent believes himself to be special, elect, unique, as everyone, in reality, believes themselves to be more moral or immortal than everyone else, privately. It also tells us what Vincent thinks of society, namely that it's a procession of gullible animals being led variously to imprisonment or slaughter. Interchangeability is a big part of the theme of Catherine, as evidenced by the fact that there are 3 Catherines, one with a C, one with a K, and one with a Q. They're all different in some important ways, of course, but the main tension or terror befalling Vincent is this. Life seems to present us with choices, options, but does it really make any difference which one we pick? Are any of these choices actually ours? In between levels of his nightmare, the game asks you, the player, as Vincent, to answer a number of questions picking one of 2 presented responses. The game then tells you, once you've selected an answer, how many people chose that same answer. How many men chose this answer or that answer, and how many women chose that answer or this answer. And the game displays these results in the form of a pie chart. In so doing, the game takes us from a moment that seems to be an individual reflection of our subjective preference and raises us to the vertiginous level of mere statistic. That opinion isn't yours, it belongs to 49% of people. You're not you, you're a drop in the bucket. The game even says, here's how sheep around the world answered. No matter what you chose, the dutiful or transgressive option, you're just one of a flock. You can quote-unquote choose, but it doesn't really matter. No matter which partner you end up with, you will end up with Catherine. All of that is to say, Catherine is a game about choice, and whether choosing anything allows you to feel that your life is your own. Aristotle argues in the Nicomachean Ethics that our habitual choices create us, reshape us, and we're the result of our decisions. One of my all-time top 5 favorite movies, Masaki Yuasa's Mind Game, has that same explicit theme. Aristotle got there first though. He says, "It is from the same causes and by the same means that every virtue is both produced and destroyed. By doing the acts that we do in our transactions with other men, we become just or unjust. And by doing the acts we do in the presences of danger and being habituated to feel fear or confidence, we become brave or cowardly." The great Aristotelian St. Thomas Aquinas throws his hat in the ring here too, adding, to summarize some of his thought, that the body and the soul aren't separate and aren't opposed. Rather, he thought of the body as a sort of necessary extension of the soul. He thought that the body came into being and was necessary because what the soul is made to do, made to accomplish, can't be done or achieved by the soul alone. Wisdom doesn't and can't simply happen in the realm of contemplation, but it has to happen on earth through acts with our bodies. And so, in the case of, say, Vincent Brooks, the spiritual ascent into himself he undertakes every night isn't divorced from the messy physical feelings that dominate his waking life. The two are one and the same, and the body is the soul's instrument of becoming. Choices are just the notes played in the song of becoming yourself. And finally, maybe it doesn't matter what you choose, so much as it matters that you choose. As Stephen Sondheim once said in one of his great works, to my mind his best work, Sunday in the Park with George, "I chose and my world was shaken. So what? The choice may have been mistaken, the choosing was not." The great covert Aristotelian, who I consider such because he too believed becoming is better than being, Nietzsche, himself said, "The bite of conscience, like the bite of a dog into a stone, is a stupidity." Don't waste time feeling guilty, feeling like you picked the wrong choice, did the wrong thing. What's done is done, and the past is as dead as a rock. What matters is taking pleasure in the self-affirming act of choosing at all, so that you can then continue to choose, continue to become, continue to live fully. But going back to the flattening interchangeability that threatens Vincent throughout his voyage, we come to confront a question. If your choice is chosen by other people, then does it not have any self-affirming aspect at all? Or are you just a charge blindly flowing forward, going down this circuit rather than that one due to purely circumstantial causes, believing this path made by you when in fact it never could have been otherwise? Well, here's what I think. I think that even if other people have chosen what we ourselves choose, the choice remains ours, the way that something we purchase is ours. And why is something we purchase ours? Because we pay for it. There's a cost. And that's what lends meaning to our choices, what allows us to lay some claim to them. When you choose a certain path in Catherine, there's a cost. As you go further down one path, entry points to alternate paths begin closing. You can only get one ending at a time. And the same thing goes in life. The more you become one kind of guy, the more you choose this or don't choose that, the less possible it becomes to be another kind of guy. That's what gives our decisions moral weight, is the fact that we can't do another playthrough of our life. Like always, mortality is what makes morality real. Our lives have meaning because of the potential lives we surrender with each choice. Each choice narrows our possibilities as it deepens our sense of real meaning. And, in ways big and small, Catherine tells us that. And in a way that may be obvious, I think all games sort of tell us that too, just maybe less directly than Catherine. The most philosophical game ever made.